and we rob ourselves of feeling fulfilled because we've had this conditioning. Well, just get back to work, or it's not enough, or you could have done better. There's a way you can do a little bit of both.
여러분 안녕하십니까, 돌콩입니다. 오늘 정말 채널에 엄청난 분을 한 분 모셨습니다. 인터뷰가 끝났는데도 아직 좀 마음이 떨리는데요. 사실 한국에서 많이 이제 관심을 갖고 팔로잉 하시는 미국의 자기개발 인플루언서 하면 이제 떠오르는 분들이 팀 페리스, 타이탄의 도구들, 그다음 토니 로빈스, 내 안에 잠든 거인을 깨워라, 그리고 후버맨 랩의 앤드류 후버맨 교수님 같은 분들이 계신데, 사실 미국에서 나 자기개발에 좀 관심 있다 하면은 모르실 수가 없는 분을 모셨습니다. 바로 루이스 하우스 선생님은 오늘 무려 채널에 모실 수 있게 되었는데요. 인스타그램 팔로워 300만, 유튜브 채널 구독자 310만, 지금까지 발행하신 팟캐스트 에피소드의 개수가 1500회를 육박합니다. 그리고 뉴욕타임즈 베스트셀러 작가이시기도 하시고요. 이번에 나온 책 The Greatness Mindset, 이 책이 이제 한국에서 Great Mindset이라는 제목으로 번역이 되어서 나오면서 제가 살다 보니 이런 기회가 옵니다, 여러분들. 네, 루이스 하우스 선생님을 채널에 모실 수 있게 됐습니다. 저도 새내기 직장인 시절에 아직도 기억이 나는데, 새벽에 출근을 하면서 혼자 그 출근길에 선생님의 팟캐스트 에피소드 The School of Greatness를 정말 많이 듣곤 했었어요. 그런데 실제로 선생님을 만나서 얘기를 나눠보니까 제가 그간 갖고 있던 이제 선생님에 대한 이미지가 있었는데, 그것보다 훨씬 내면이 좀 더 단단하게 느껴지는 부분도 있었고, 무엇보다 되게 따뜻하신 분이라는 생각이 들어서 저에게는 너무나 오래 기억에 남는 그런 시간이 되지 않을까 싶습니다. 여러분들께도 좋은 영감을 나누는 인터뷰였으면 좋겠네요.
You have a big YouTube channel too? Is that your main thing? And Korean YouTube
Compared
channel?
to yours, mine is baby, Luis. Luis, I really loved your book. I was a big fan of your podcast, but this book was exceptional. Let's cover the book first. You talk really about greatness here, and always curious how you define greatness in a different way compared to success and being rich.
For me, I wanted to be successful as a kid growing up. That was what I was chasing. You know, accomplish goals in athletics and in sports and then in business. But I just realized I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't feeling accomplished, even though I accomplished so much, if that makes sense. And I realized I was so committed to achieving success that it was hurting me. And it was working. I was accomplishing and achieving success, but it wasn't feeling fulfilled. And it wasn't until I realized, oh, I've got it all wrong. I'm chasing success, and what I should be doing is thinking about how can I be of service, not chasing success. And for me, service is more about greatness. It's about the impact you make on the people next to you, the people in your life, and the people in your message or in your work or in your purpose. And when we are figuring out what that purpose is for us, and sometimes that we figure it out by trying lots of things that we don't want to do, and we realize, okay, where can I go? What does bring me more joy and excitement? When I started to think that way and live into that, that's when I started to have more greatness over success.
A lot of people have this obsession about being rich. If you look at the bestseller list in Korea, there are a lot of books on the top that are about investment, being rich, how to make passive income, and how to gain financial independence, so on and so forth. So, but you experienced it all. You were a pro athlete, you got injured. And then there are some times that you had to live on your sister's couch, as far as I know.
Yes.
A lot of people are, I think, at that point, but you started your business. You restarted it, and then you created your own business, and then you made like 7-digit income. I don't know, like maybe more than that. But somehow, according to your book and your podcast episode I've been listening to, it was not happy ever after, right?
Correct, yeah.
Among the images that we have about being rich, what turned out to be correct and what turned out to be wrong for you?
Well, I think when you make money, it can solve certain money problems, but it doesn't solve the problem within yourself of fulfillment, joy, happiness, purpose, meaning. It doesn't solve all your relationship problems. It doesn't solve your health problems. I think it gives you more access. It gives you more resources to take care of money problems. But also, I know a lot of wealthy people that I've interviewed or friends of mine that aren't necessarily happy because they have more money. It almost causes more stress for some people at times when they have more, because now more people want things from them. They have more responsibilities. They have more bills and expenses. They don't know who to trust. And so relationship dynamics change. when someone knows that you have more money. People look at you differently. They act differently towards you. And it's hard to know if people are really there for you because they care about you or because they care that you have money. And so there's a different type of stress and dynamic that we have to internalize with the outside world when that happens. And what I've heard a lot of extremely wealthy and rich people say is that money just reveals more of who you are. Whatever emotion you have, it's going to be elevated once you have more money. So I had to do a lot of healing work. I had to address, why am I triggered in certain situations? Sure, you have more money, so I can buy, a flight to go somewhere. I can pay for a nicer apartment. I can buy a nicer restaurant, or whatever it might be. But you still have human dynamics at play. Okay, I'm going to go to a restaurant now. Now, am I supposed to pay every time for all my friends? Are they going to expect me to pay? And if I'm angry and feel already taken advantage of when I don't have money, then I'm going to feel more taken advantage of when I do have money. So I need to address the things within me that are causing me pain, resentment, anger, frustration beforehand. Otherwise, it's going to be harder to address it afterwards. Money will just give us access to things, but it won't solve what's inside of us.
You really emphasize this importance of service and helping other people to pursue the meaningful life. So some people may say that let me be rich first and then let me experience all this like fancy thing, first class flight, all the hotel rooms and everything. Then I'll be at the better place to help other people. And then let me do the service. What do you think about this?
Having money is definitely better than not having money. I'll just say that. It's definitely better for me than not having money. There's two types of selfishness. The selfishness of, I want people to do things for me. I want instant gratification. I want to make money now for me because I want to feel better about myself. I want to feel more powerful. I want people to like me. I want to impress people. I want to fit in. I want to belong, all these things. It's a selfish way of thinking. It's not bad. It's just a selfish way of thinking. But the most selfish thing you can do, I think, is be of service to someone else, of contributing and giving to someone else, because there's no greater feeling than the gift of giving and what you receive by helping someone else grow, improve, get out of a challenging situation, and doing something for others. You feel like you have more purpose. You contributed more. You have more value. You were able to make a difference in someone's life. And you're impacting more than just give me, I want. How do I look good? How do I get rich for me? So when we think about how can I make money and get rich and become wealthy, when we think about how can I contribute and add value to someone else in a way that they benefit and I can get wealthy, it is even greater.
It's like type 2 selfishness. There is a type 1 fun and type 2 fun. There is a type 1 selfishness and type 2 selfishness. I'll switch the gear a little bit. I was always curious about your motivation for the pursuit of greatness. Because from the book, it is a beautiful journey, but it's not necessarily an easy journey, right? There is a fear deconstruction. You talked about the healing journey, which just sounds beautiful, but I bet once we start experiencing, it's a little bit terrifying and scary too in the process. And also sometimes I see a lot of people are just okay with their okay life. So there is a situation where the good is actually the biggest enemy of being great. Mm-hmm. And, we don't have great life, but, I wake up in the morning, go to work and work for 8 hours and come back and eat dinner and then watch Netflix and do it again, right? So it's not the best and great, but it is not necessarily, the worst life. And maybe we don't have this like urgent motivation to start this journey toward the greatness. What is your motivation and what do you recommend, I think, for people who feel like, my life is good enough and I don't really necessarily want to try something very big or new?
I think if someone thinks their life is good enough and they feel satisfied, then cool. Then don't make any changes. I don't think we have to strive for something greater. However, if there's something in you that is frustrated, if there's something in you that says, what about this dream I have? Or you've been talking about doing this thing for 10 years and you never do it. But you're like, well, life is good enough, so I'm just going to stick in this place. That's when I think we should reflect on the top 5 regrets of the Dying, which is a friend of mine, Bonnie Ware. She wrote this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and Bronnie Ware, sorry. And the 5 regrets are: I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The second one is: I wish I hadn't worked so hard. The third: I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. The fourth is: I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And the fifth is a big one: I wish I had let myself be happier. Most people don't allow themselves to be happy. They feel like they're not allowed or supposed to be happier than what they already have. I have this, I should be happy enough. Or this is the responsibility that I've been given because my parents needed me to do this, and because now I have kids and I need to be a good citizen to my community, and this is the way it's going to be because otherwise I'll be judged. When we live a life like that, we are living to please others as opposed to make sure we're living fully and expressing the life that we want to live. And these are the regrets of people on their deathbed. And so if your life is good and you feel satisfied and you're like, you know what, then I'm a really happy human being because I'm living life on my terms. Sure, I've got responsibilities and I've got kids and I've got to show up and do these things, but this is the life I'm choosing to live. And therefore, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm choosing it. I accept the life that I've created for me. And if I don't accept it, then how can I make changes? As opposed to just being frustrated and having a negative attitude. Okay, this is not the vision I want for my life anymore. Let me identify a new vision, a new meaningful mission, and see how I can start to move and adjust towards that closer. And maybe I'm not going to be able to do it everything overnight, and I have responsibilities still and kids and I'll work. But how can I start adding a little bit more of this into my life so it does bring more meaning and fulfillment? So I am allowing myself to live happier. And that's not easy to do. That means I've got to get up early and I go work out because it's important to be healthy. It means I got to do certain things to have responsibilities to help others too. But I've accepted these responsibilities and I'm grateful for them. And that gives me peace.
I want to talk a little bit more about insecurity when we try to do that. So let's say that I put myself out there to do something new for me. I am frustrated currently. I want to change something. So I decide to put myself out there again. It could be starting a new business, writing a new book, sending my resume to get my dream job, or taking one step further in a relationship that you really, cherish, right?
Yes.
There is always a war in my head when I try to do that kind of thing. So one side of Sunny really wants to be authentic and stay true to myself. I'm confident and I can do this, I'm capable. But another side of me is think that I'm not enough, I'm not ready. I may do better in the future when I'm better prepared. I shouldn't do this kind of thing. And then this voice, this conflict is so loud and unsettling at the moment. How do you deal with that if you ever experience that?
I'm trying to find the page in here. It's probably different for your the Korean version of it, but there's a page in the book that talks about the doubt diagram. I'm going to do an exercise with you, and I'm going to ask you this, and I'll ask everyone watching to see what fear resonates the most with them. And typically, most people have one of 3 different fears that cause them to doubt themselves, to feel not enough. Do you ever feel the fear of failure?
It was, I think, but I got better with that throughout the experience.
Okay. What about the fear of success? What if everything goes the way you envision and you have all the success in the world and the weight and the pressure that success brings you? Is that a fear?
No, it was not, but I have something to say about this. It was actually my follow-up question, but I bet the third fear was the fear of judgment, right? So I was like, fear of success is not mine. I would love to have a success, and it just doesn't, make sense it didn't make sense to me at the beginning, but after reading the fear of judgment, it makes sense because I really don't like disappointing other people. I am scared of being hated or getting a lot of hateful comments, for example. It remains really long in me. And fear of success, the fear of judgment is closely related to that, because I don't want more of that in my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You don't want more people criticizing you, saying nasty things about you, judging you. It doesn't feel good, right? And if there's thousands of people leaving nasty comments on a YouTube video of mine, already, if I have 100 times more success and I go bigger, imagine the amount of negative comments that are going to come my way. It can be daunting, and that will sabotage you from taking more risks, from going after your dreams, from taking action on creating the life you want because of the fear of judgment. That's something that I had for a long time, and it caused me to, it didn't hold me back from creating and generating because I wasn't a fear of failure or success. But I was reactive and triggered and felt like I needed to defend myself with every nasty comment that I got for a long time. And that held me back. And we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to allow our ego and our fear of being a people pleaser and needing to have everyone like us holding us back from moving towards our purpose? And knowing that criticism is the only path towards success. Failure is the only path. We must fail, fall, make mistakes, look foolish, because we're going to need to do things we've never done. You're never going to be fully prepared and ready to launch something new that you've never done before. If we have a vision of an idea, we want to create a business to launch, going after a new career, we have to take a risk and leap into something that we've never done before if we want to grow beyond where we are. And that is scary if we have one of these fears, or if we hold on to the idea of, well, I want people to like me. No one in the world wants anyone to hate them. I don't know if I've ever met anyone that says, I'm going to do this thing and I hope everyone criticizes me and hates me. No one wants that. It's not fun. Unfortunately, this is how human psychology is and people react. They see something online. They see something someone does. Someone writes a book. Someone like you launches a YouTube show, puts out a content, and people have their own insecurities, they have their own judgments, they have their own fears and frustrations, and they're going to comment about it. But here's the thing, most creators don't criticize other people. You'll never see me leave a negative review on Amazon for someone else's book because I know how hard it is to write a book. So I'm not going to go on there and be like, this book was horrible. They did this. I'm going to be like, okay, here's my honest review, and great, I love that you did this and this and this, but I'm not going to be attacking people. And we have to be aware of that. The people leaving comments or criticism typically aren't creating something. Their creation is criticism, and they're frustrated. So this is what they do with their time, as opposed to focused energy on creating something of value like you're doing, Sunny. It's part of the path. We have to learn how to let go of our egos that wants everyone to love us and like us, and figure out how can we continue to be of service to our mission.
It reminds me of, I think, what Brené Brown said in her book, I can take the criticism, but I wouldn't take the criticism from a person who is out of arena. I'm a fighter who's really fighting in the arena, and you should be in the arena to criticize me. I'll take that. That was
exactly. And it's not about not taking any criticism. Like, I welcome feedback. But feedback from people that I respect, people that have my best interest in mind, people that want to see me succeed, not from people that want me to fail.
Great. I feel a little bit healed. I went through your podcast this morning, and then you published one episode this morning, including that. It was like 1,503 episodes. I do have massive respect about that.
Is that what it is?
How consistent you've been.
No, 1,503. Yeah, that's every week, 10 years, 3 episodes a week for the last 8 years. The first 2 years, it was like 1 and 2 episodes, but it was every week for the last 10 years. And I think people don't realize how much it takes and how long it takes sometimes. And we should be focusing on wins, little wins in the first week, month, and year, because that builds momentum to sustain long term. And it's just understanding that the longer you do something consistently, while constantly trying to improve, every week I'm trying to improve. it's allowed me to have greater success over time.
That consistency, I think it is the big success, and congratulations for what you have done. Yeah, I just admire that consistency so much. Last question that I have is how to balance between ambition and contentment. I do have a lot of ambition. I do have a lot of fear, but I still have a lot of ambition. I want to achieve a lot of things, but also I sometimes have a hard time to enjoy the moment because I do have so many dreams in me, and that really feels important sometimes, very important to me, and I forget about existing at the moment. How do you deal with that?
I think it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it because I was all ambition most of my life and zero, content with what was happening. I was like, okay, I accomplished the goal, but now let's go for the bigger one. And it was just like right back to work. I needed to learn, why is that happening inside of me? Why do I not feel enough? How can I continue to have drive and ambition and go for it, but also know I'm enough, whether it works out or not? And the last few years has really helped me in this. And also being with Martha, my fiance, she is all about celebration and really putting emphasis on, wow, you did this great interview today. Let's celebrate it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's just an interview. It's not like some big milestone. She goes, no, let's celebrate. Let's go to dinner and talk about it and just like have a meal and connect. And that practice has allowed me to enjoy celebrating a little bit more. Or at least taking the weekends to be like, let's reflect on the week and the big wins. What were the wins this week? And let's have a lunch and just talk about them and celebrate the effort. You're improving, you're growing. Let's celebrate this and then get back to work. I think the fulfillment side of life is where the magic is. And we rob ourselves of feeling fulfilled because we've had this conditioning. Well, just get back to work, or it's not enough, or you could have done better. There's a way you can do a little bit of both, where I think, again, you can celebrate in private. You don't have to be cocky or confident to everyone in the world and say, look at my celebration. You don't have to do that. Maybe there's certain things you do want to brag about, and that's cool too. But I think, oh, wow, this is a really beautiful moment. Who can I share this with? And my friends, my family, and celebrate. Then, okay, let's get back to work.
I wanted to share some of the comments that people share about your book in Korea. So this is the cover of your book,
Wow,
the
cool.
Korean version. It's really cool. And the pink thing, it's a bestseller badge, Luis. So
already?
Yeah. These are the pictures that people share on social. So people are reading
cool.
it and then they picture. These are all the reviews about greatness mindset people already wrote. I didn't cherry pick. People really rated high. And some of them I tried to translate a little bit to deliver to you. So they gained the courage and confidence for the new challenge. And the book was exactly what I needed. It was so insightful. Thank you so much for writing this book, Luis. And last thing that I wanted to ask you is the comments for the Korean readers. There are a lot of young professionals who are still feeling lost and who are still in the process of finding their mission, finding their meaning, and sometimes they feel lost in the process. If you have any feedback or insight that you want to share with them, please.
There's a whole exercise in the book that talks about discovering and creating your meaningful mission. So I'll let you guys go through that and work through that if you have the book. But really, for me, there were many years that I did different jobs that I didn't enjoy. And then I realized this is not for me. And so I think a lot of discovering what your meaningful mission is being willing to try stuff and realize, okay, that's not what I want to do. Like I was a truck driver for 3 months, driving 6 hours a day. I was like, that's not for me. Maybe some people enjoy that life, but it wasn't for me. I worked as a bouncer at a nightclub for a while. I was doing a lot of different jobs, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. Or maybe it's only for me for a season of life, for a period of time, but it's not what I want to be doing for the future. It's hard to figure out what our mission is based on what other people tell us to do. And I'm not sure what it's like in Korea, but I have heard in Asian countries that mostly if you're either a lawyer, a doctor, or a failure. And so there's high expectation that your purpose is determined for you from parents, society, culture, whatever it might be. And I get that there's a real pressure to please parents, please family, be liked. There is a massive weight and pressure. So I don't want to diminish that. I acknowledge it because it's hard. And maybe there's a period of time where you have to. Maybe you need to go to school and as a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer for a period of time because your parents are paying for it and you don't have the money to do something else. Maybe you have to do certain things for a period of time. But if you can truly listen to your inner wisdom, which is hard to do when you're stressed and overwhelmed, that's why taking care of yourself in the morning, giving yourself that hour a day of movement, of working out, of meditation, you'll be able to listen to what your voice is telling you. This is the path I think I'm supposed to go down. And if you can listen to that and take consistent action, knowing that failure will come your way and still enjoy it, then I feel like that's a good place to start on figuring out your mission.